Hello, Betsy.
Hey there. I think you're the host. Do you want to be the host?
Sure.
All right, because I'm going to have to leave the meeting at some point. Now, do you know how to move people?
Not exactly, no.
Okay, so you see you have panelists, that's you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see attendees. If there was anybody in the attendee, you click on attendee and you and then it'll give you the option to more, so put your cursor over me.
And attendees?
You see how?
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, more.
See the more, right. And so the more should give you the ability to move them. Move them to panelist, and then the mute all, or you can also invite people if they for some reason forget.
Mm-hmm.
You have everybody's phone numbers and emails and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we should be in good shape. Kate Richards should be back in town. I know Bruce is not going to make it, but for sure Melinda and Jill are going to.
Yeah, well, those are good people to have. You've got a good group of people. I think Susan keeps forgetting. She keeps forgetting she's the meetings. So last time I called her and I called Jill, and Jill couldn't make it, but Susan got on. So.
Yeah, we're going to kind of keep it short tonight anyway. I just want to touch on everything pretty quickly and.
So recording function. See the recorder up and.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. I can't do anything because I'm not. You're in total control. I can't do anything.
Okay. Yeah, I see it's recording now. Yeah.
So you can pause that recording if you want to and wait, or it can get deleted if you need to. All right. There is a record button here. What's that one? Oh.
Okay, I got one up top and one down low.
Yeah, I would try both. I put both on just in case.
All right, so the one up top is sort of the cloud one.
That's the cloud,
And the one down low is the computer, I think.
There you go.
All right, I got both going.
Right, so. You like to have the computer so then you have access immediately.
Yeah, it gives me a jump on it. I'm probably going to have to amend my own minutes because there was some stuff at the end. I just ran out of time to.
Don't worry about it. They're just draft anyway, so you can always fix them.
True.
The most important thing to have is any votes that occur and who made the motion and who seconded and the outcome. That's a big requirement.
Understood.
Who was at the meeting, but this is all advisory anyway. So what's the, I know you're taking some heat from people about it, but just don't worry. I think this is a worthy exercise.
Thank you.
And
it seems to be simmering down a little bit. I think people understand now. They see what we're doing, and everything I've laid out.
Did you actually? I was told today that you asked for copies of complaints.
What I asked for was just basic data, like as far as like the number of complaints and.
Wasn't there information already complied with through the day? The day did an FOI.
I guess they must have. Yeah, because they wrote that article.
Yeah, they did. So I'm just wondering. That was it. And they had to comply with that because it's FOI.
Okay.
I don't know. I just thought the information was already in everyone's hands.
I'm not sure. I never got a copy of that.
It's available.
Where would I find that?
On the day's website, they had all the reports there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, John.
You have to do it online. You have to do it online.
Okay.
I can look for you tomorrow if I remember.
All right.
Because they included them all in the article. So, hello, there you are.
Hey. Yeah, all right, that sounds good. Yeah, like I just wasn't sure where to begin to look, or if it was compiled somewhere, or what.
Yeah, we're lucky we don't have huge issues. Not that we couldn't in the future, but I know that if we've had anybody that doesn't fit, they don't stay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they're not given to somebody else. That's the problem, you know.
Yeah.
I think that a bad cop should never be a cop again.
Right. Yeah, a national database of some kind would be a great idea.
They do have some national databases, though, but I don't think they, they're very protective of each other. So anyway, I gotta go. I gotta run. So I'm leaving. I'm gonna hear my little leave button. All right.
Oh, quick question.
Sure.
I'll send you an email to follow up. But as far as like the drafting of some of these, the survey and the letter, I started some Google Docs. Am I in any sort of FOI danger territory if people like chime in and make comments on the drafts, and then I go back in and make adjustments?
They're just drafts. So right now it's a draft. So
so it doesn't count as a meeting if one person.
I mean, if anybody asks for your draft, you give it to them. You know, FOI is really only when people don't give things to people. You know, like you know, but a draft of a document is really not an FOI item because it's a draft.
And a shared document would not count as a meeting, correct?
No,
if people are on, happen to be on at the same time?
No, not at all. You're not talking to each other. You're not emailing to each other. You know, for kibitz, you can't do that. You can't email with kibitz. That does constitute. If you're all commenting on the same
we can only reply individually.
Correct.
Right. One person can send out a group email, but when you respond, you have to respond individually. Correct?
Yeah, that's pretty close. I mean, I like to stay away from emails. I like telephone calls.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. I don't want to hold you up.
Okay. All right. All right. Take care.
You too.
Did I not leave?
Not yet.
Weird. Set to leave. That's weird. Let's see. Did you accidentally make me host again, co-host? Because I see there's a.
The more box says
Rename.
Yeah. Make host, make co-host. Rename, put on hold, forbid record. I can put remove. There's that option.
No, we don't want to do that. I'm just going to click my button like this. Oh, it's not working. Goodbye. It's not working. Isn't that weird? Oh, maybe my mouse isn't working. At least I can go that. No, I can't even get my. That's weird. Stop. I don't have any controls at all. Can you stop me from videoing?
Let me see what I can do here. Stop video.
There.
All right.
I'm just going to shut you off.
Good evening.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
Okay. No, we're just about at 6:30. We have 5. So we can get started here in just about 1 minute to make it official. Okay. All right, so we'll call the meeting to order at 6:30. We have Representatives Hanscom, Cassieri, Rusk, Gauthier, and Thomas. And so does anyone have anything to report as far as communications go?
Aside from those from JC Ambrose, which I think we're going to go over, they were included in the agenda package.
Yeah, do we want to discuss those? Hey, Sima.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. How you doing?
Good. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Sorry I've missed so many of these, but I'm eager to listen in. I'm just going to be in listen mode.
Okay.
So from his emails and from his exchanges with Sima, I think that it was resolved, his concerns. I think Moderator Ebbin made it very clear that we made sure we had the appropriate members for the overlap between the Public Safety Committee and everything. And it's a research committee, so I think that as she clearly addressed that. But I don't really have any other comments beyond that. I think it was handled well.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else want to discuss the email chain that was presented in the minutes? All right. Yeah, I agree with Representative Gauthier's synopsis. It seemed like, the concerns were well handled, and, we're in safe territory doing what we're doing.
I wanted to just add one thing, sorry. I did ask a Republican member, because the way that rule is written, I did ask, I think it was Karen, to serve, and she declined. Mm-hmm. So then I did request Lynn Crockett-Hubbard to serve, and I never heard back. So that is the status there. And those, we had some attrition in that committee of Republican members just because Representative Osman and who?
Salva, I think it was.
Yes, yeah, they both resigned. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me of that.
No worries. All right, so approval of minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
A motion to approve the minutes.
Second, Kasseri.
Second, Kasseri. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? All right, minutes are approved. Okay. So the first order of business, well, first off, I just wanted to make a general announcement. There is a Democratic Town Committee meeting tonight at 7. So my goal was to try to just do a quick touch on all the subjects tonight and shape up for a longer meeting next week. But I'd like to be out of here by like 6:55 or 7 at the absolute latest. So we discussed last meeting the desire to create a survey, and out of the members that were present, we were unanimously in favor of creating a survey to send out to the public. So the first 2 agenda items kind of lean into that, where we're going to try to throw together a draft of survey, which I believe would be Does someone have some background? I hear something. Oh, thank you. So yeah, long story short, I took a stab at it using the Memphis ordinance, and it quickly got into the weeds. So I think I would like some more time with that. And I created a Google Doc and invited everybody in the group into the Google Doc to make comments, and then I can make the edits based on your comments, and we can sort of like crush and compile those questions down to about, you know, between 10 and a minimum of 10, I would think, and an absolute maximum of 20. Although I concur with Representative Cassieri's sense that 20 may even be too many. But I'm open, like I'd just like to throw open the conversation now and see if everyone's got a chance to look at that Google Doc and have some time to think about a survey and what sort of questions we could put on a survey that would be useful to get a sense of what the community wants. Representative Richards, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you. So I did miss the meetings from last week, and I've been catching up watching videos of the joint meeting with the Town Council Public Safety Committee and haven't quite gotten to all of the minutes. So I was not aware of the Google Doc. I did see, for the survey, I did see a draft of the letter of recommendation and I can have a chance to look at that. So this survey is new to me, and I'm a little surprised that that would come from the RTM and not the town council as they're putting this together. So I was just wondering why the choice was to do that through the RTM.
Fair question. Representative Rusk had her hand up, and then Hanscom.
Yeah.
My comment wasn't directly related, so if Representative Hanscom wants to respond to that, I'm fine with yielding to her first.
Very well.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that, I don't remember who suggested the survey. I think it was in response to my question of like, what does the community want out of this? I don't know like the process for how we should do, like if we're creating like a menu of options for town council, I would think they would consider that menu and also maybe conduct the survey. I wouldn't necessarily think we have to do it, but that would be, you know, just as far as the process, then we have something to present to the community too. Like, do you want A or B? You know, that's my thought.
I was thinking that would be a recommendation to the town council. Like that would be something to put in a letter of recommendation to the council that they survey the community and involve the community in as many ways as possible through outreach. With that being a tool, I'm not sure that I would suggest the RTM do that.
Okay, that's a fair point. So should we suspend, I guess, or Representative Rusk? Yes.
Thank you. My concern was kind of along those lines. I think that we're a little presumptive in the questionnaire that everybody wants an oversight committee. I think we need to ask the community more, and once again, I don't think it's our role. I think it is town council's role to ask what the community wants versus assuming that they want an oversight committee, which is what this survey asks about.
Understood. Agreed. Any other thoughts? Moderator Ebbin, what's your sense, or even Representative Richards, as far as like the Rules and Procedures Committee, what is your sense of the situation as far as the, would a survey count as research, or that would be something that would absolutely have to go to the town council?
I don't know that the RTM has surveyed the community before. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't know about it. You know, this is my third year on the RTM, but I don't have an extensive history of before. I would think that it's more of a town council role, though.
Yeah, and I would agree. I think that survey work is obviously research, so I don't think there would be any problem kind of casting this effort as research. However, I do think it would probably be more appropriate to work through the Public Safety Committee on the Town Council and see if they would consider it, you know. And so certainly if you had a set of questions that, you know, you might recommend they consider, but I would certainly kind of leave the ultimate decision on what questions to ask and if to ask them of the community to that committee and to the town council. And, you know, anyway, that's what I think.
Okay. So maybe we could reconfigure our efforts into drafting a survey that we could present to the Public Safety Committee in the next joint session, or through an email saying a suggested survey, or should we just suggest the idea and offer our services to draft? Representative Rusk? Oh, wait a minute, I lost track there. I don't know who went first. Cassiari, how long has your hand been up? I think you might have been first. Let's start with you.
Thank you. I was just going to suggest that if we are going to recommend a survey to the council, that we should recommend that we put a question on there that asks the public if they're actually willing to serve on a board like that. As I had emailed you, Chairman, about, I think that's the most important question to ask at this point, is who is willing to volunteer?
Understood. Representative Hanscom?
Yeah, I was just suggesting that, I was thinking that, you know, we could have them, we could put it in our report as, you know, this is a possible way we could carry out the process of finding out what the community wants and have some suggested questions. Because I do think it's important about how we approach it, you know, to the community. Do we assume that they already know what a police, you know, overview board is? You know, that kind of stuff, like as far as the questions themselves. I don't feel like we have to get too deep into that ourselves, but that's just my 2 cents.
Okay. Representative Rusk?
Sorry, having issues with my computer. I think it's already been asked and answered. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Representative Richards?
Yeah, I think my general comment was already voiced too, but yeah, I think, you know, I looked at the draft of the letter of recommendation that you put out, Representative Thomas. I think it's good to have a draft and a starting point and things written down. And I definitely support recommending something like the pact at the city of Groton has formed. And I think it would be the right format to also recommend to the town council to do a survey and other kinds of methods of getting community involvement and feedback. I also would feel comfortable recommending that perhaps not immediately, but shortly, having a review board that has review powers, not the subpoena or investigative powers, and allowing that to kind of grow and develop and educate people in the town about what that is and what that does, and see how it goes, with the potential of, after that, if there's a need, taking further steps to have other oversight. But I think if we were going to have a review board of some sort to start, probably having one really as a review board rather than as an investigative one would make the most sense for how to start with Groton. I don't know if other people have thought about that.
Representative Hanscom?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to lower my hand, but yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I feel the same. As I was kind of going through that draft, understand, I was just kind of like, it was more of like a thought experiment and just like pulling out like what exactly all would be there. I had no intention whatsoever of making an actual survey to be 50-something plus questions. I just kind of wanted to pull that document apart and really like get into see what was inside that, because it seemed very comprehensive. So yeah, like I think, so we could probably just put a big pause on the actual drafting of the survey, and then, you know, make some mention of the survey. I could redraft the letter of recommendation and mention a survey in there. And then we could take another look at that letter of recommendation next week and go from there. Would that be a good way to go, you think?
Representative Thomas, I had my hand up. I just wanted to say, I thought you could put that as an appendix to your report. So, I mean, having good questions is a good thing. So I would just, you know, have it as an appendix. And, you know, certainly you're just, you know, providing this. And I think that's just additional information for the group. So I wouldn't tran anything that you've had effort to develop.
Okay. That sounds like a good measured approach. Representative Richards, you took your hand down. That was the old hand.
It keeps going back up and I've lowered it like 5 times. So I'm not sure why, but no, I didn't want to speak. Thank you.
All right. So I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the email that Bruce Flax, Representative Flax sent earlier today, I believe it was, sort of sharing his feelings about the letter of recommendation. And that kind of opened up a line of thought and conversation I wanted to kind of throw in there. I feel like we have pretty much handled all the new business on our agenda in sort of the short conversation that we had. And I just want to like clear that out before I talk about Representative Flax's email. So I'm just going to work on revising the letter to incorporate some mention of a survey, and we'll fold all the big questions, like that other big survey document, into an appendix for a possible appendix for a future report. Is everyone here good with that? Anyone opposed to that idea?
This is Moderator Ebbin again. Sorry,
Yes.
I did have my hand raised.
Oh, I wasn't, sorry, I thought that was the old one.
I didn't receive that letter, so if you could forward it to me, that would be great.
Sure.
Maybe I missed it, but I don't think I got it. Thanks.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
You didn't?
No, I don't.
I did, I linked you guys into a Google Doc. So it would look like, does it say invitation to edit in a Google Doc? I'll double check the settings and send it out again. And I'll send a copy, I guess, attached as well to firm that up. So in regards to Representative Flax's email, he had raised some valid concerns about the letter of recommendation and that he was not necessarily in support of it. And I think everyone received that email, so we don't necessarily need to discuss those all the details just yet.
I didn't receive it. That's what I'm saying. I didn't.
Oh,
get
you didn't
it.
receive that email?
No.
Yeah,
no,
I didn't either. Yeah, I don't have no idea.
Okay.
Knowing.
Let me see what I can do here. Stand by one.
So I did receive it, and it looks like it was him replying to the invitation to edit email that we should have all received from about 10:56 a.m. this morning. And it has everyone on here. It looks like Jill, Kate, Melinda. It's got everyone because he reply all to an invitation to edit. The subject line is CURC letter of recommendation invitation to edit.
Yeah.
I
think I sent Sima a separate invitation to edit, so that may have dropped her off. I'm forwarding the email now. Sorry, I have a split screen. I see some hands. Okay.
I'm sorry, I just forwarded it to them. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Representative, Moderator Ebbin, are you still wishing to speak? I see your hand up still. No, okay, Representative
No,
Richards?
no, I'm fine. I just was trying to say that I really didn't get it. I really have checked.
Yeah, and I understand now why you didn't, because when I sent you your link to the Google Doc, it was after the fact of me sending the link to the rest of the committee. So when Bruce hit that reply all, you weren't on that list.
Oh, I didn't get the original either, so I don't know. I just searched through all my emails. I don't know.
Okay. Do you
Okay.
have, did you get
I
something?
have it now. Yep,
Okay.
I have it now.
Great. Representative Richards?
Yeah, I did get the email and look at it. And, you know, I certainly don't want to put words in Representative Flex's mouth, but it seems basically he wanted some more explanation of what the PACT goals are, what that translates to. You know, generally they look to be just saying, you know, try to improve relations, which I don't know, you know, I think that's great. But it doesn't give you concrete steps in that. And it sounded like he just wanted some idea of what that would mean.
Right. Yeah, agreed. And I do agree with that assessment as well, as far as like it being a little unclear. And I think we could, I could clarify the language in the letter to say that, you know, it's modeled loosely off the PACT with the similar goals, but we could encourage that. I mean, the town council is going to be up to them to how they construct it. So I would imagine that they would they could choose to create more nuts and bolts approach as far as like how it would work. And, you know, I could try to put in a couple sentences to see if we could express that without sounding too presumptuous. And we could review that draft next week, and as far as that goes. Is that?
Just to go back on that, I think some of the difficulty with that is then it can limit what your activities might be. And some of the goals, like improving relations between the community and the police, you know, technology and all kinds of things taking place, I can see, you know, definitely being things that we don't foresee right now as being good. So that's one reason to maybe leave it more broad, but I also understand the need for something concrete to be able to measure and know what's going on.
So along those lines, my thought was that if there are any committee members who were not happy with the the final draft of the letter, excuse me, and if they didn't want to to endorse it, excuse me. So if they didn't want to endorse it, then I could leave the name off, the individual's name off the letter. And so only those on the committee that have their name on the letter would be seen to be endorsing the idea. And also that kind of ties into a larger idea about the report as we go through drafting it, which I wanted to, I could save that for another meeting. But long story short, a little quick, thought would be that, we could record the votes of all the components of the report. And, as we go through the recommendations, as we present the recommendations, if someone's not in favor, we would just record the vote of each recommendation. And we could, if there's a majority in favor of that recommendation is put forward. But we would also share the minority section and, so people would understand that it wasn't necessarily unanimous. We wouldn't try to manufacture a consensus here as much as we would just kind of share the information and show that there was a bit of a divide. Do we think that's useful or more confusing? Representative Richards and then Hanscom. And, Gauthier. And,
yeah, I believe Representative Gauthier had her hand up before.
All right, Representative Gauthier.
Maybe I'm too late in this because I had wanted to respond to something that Representative Richards had said about not constricting what the Public Safety Committee could do. I mean, since it's a recommendation, if I understand what Representative Flax was looking for was just to enumerate some specific actions that we could recommend. I mean, they obviously don't necessarily need to take them, but in making the recommendation, in addition to having, recommending having a pact-like group formed immediately while the longer process of establishing an oversight board continues, we can also say, we would like to recommend that part of pact or whatever pact-like committee is formed conducts a community survey. Like that would be an actionable step that that group could take. So I think that that could be included in our recommendation letter and is more kind of what Representative Flax was getting at.
Representative Richards?
Yeah, thanks, Representative Gauthier. I think that's a good way of tying all of this together, and that makes sense. I was questioning, you mentioned the letter of recommendation and you mentioned a report. I'm not sure, I don't remember something different. I thought it was just one thing, a letter of recommendation that we were going to end up with. Are we also doing a report of some sort?
Yeah, the ultimate goal when we initially started the committee was that we would create a report of what options exist for a civilian review board, and then what we would recommend one would look like. And the letter of recommendation just came out of the idea that we wanted, there's a consensus that we wanted to put forth, encourage a formation of a PAC group as soon as possible. And so we were going to issue a letter of recommendation targeted towards that action while we continue to work on the report that we would have a draft by September 30th.
I guess I understood it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Representative Rusk?
I think that's once again assuming that we want to recommend as an RTM that we do a civilian review board. And I don't know that that is what the consensus is of this group.
Okay. Representative Hanscom?
Yeah, I guess my my thought was that we were going to be presenting like 4 potential models, model A, B, C, or D, and here we, some of us may like B because of this, or reasons why or why not to choose the different models. And I don't think we are as a group going to come to a consensus. So I think we could put it out there, the reasons why they could pick model A, B, C, or D, you know what I mean? And we can come up with those specific potential models. Just, that was my thought.
Okay. Representative Gauthier?
Yeah, my understanding was that the accumulation of our work here would be in a report where we did present sort of a menu of options. And I suppose one of those options could be not having a board if that's what a community survey ends up showing the community wants. But I thought that this specific recommendation letter was just to get the ball rolling, and that it's separate from the report, and that it could be baked in to the beginning of the report as one of the actions that this committee took was to write the recommendation and deliver it to the Town Council Public Safety Committee. But my understanding was that it was 2 different things, where the report would be very much more in-depth and comprehensive, whereas this letter was just addressing an immediate need or desire to have some type of sounding board for the community concerning police relations.
Yeah, that's a very strong synopsis of my understanding of it as well. Does that clear things up, Representative Richards? Are you good with that?
I don't know that I feel comfortable writing a comprehensive report on the possibilities of all review board options. I think that's what I'm not sure of. I guess I had conceptualized that we were going to research options, learn about things, think about what it means for Groton, and come up as a committee with a recommendation for what we think should be done for the town, to the town council. And that would be based on the research that we did. And the committee would present it to the RTM. The RTM may say no way, may amend it, may like it just the way it is and have enough votes to make that a recommendation officially from the RTM to the town council. So that's how I had envisioned this, but I will keep myself open.
Understood. Representative Rusk, do you have any further comments? I guess I wanted to follow up real quick and say, to build off Representative Gauthier, like, yeah, one of the options would be to do nothing, to have no formation of any review board. I envision that as being that's sort of the baseline of the report. Here's option A is no change. And then option B would be like a moderate change or like something basic. And then, you know, we kind of like show a graduated level of things. Yeah, with a situation this complex, I doubt we could come up with something that would be the exact fit or a great fit. I think we're more just informational reference. I think that's our best case scenario. Representative Cassieri, we're kind of hitting that 7 o'clock mark. Go ahead.
I just wanted to agree with Representative Richards. I think from everything that we've seen over the past couple of weeks, we've been hit with a lot of information. Mm-hmm. And I think we could potentially have a lot of research to bring to the RTM. And a lot of it is probably not relevant to our town. So I think it would be more beneficial to come up with a recommendation that we as a body sees fit for our town, rather than have some comprehensive, you know, possibility of a ton of different scenarios that may not necessarily work. Okay. I think we as a group have come up with a consensus already that we're very comfortable with a PAC style group, mm-hmm. you know, with the obvious hesitation by Representative Flax because he didn't feel that it was pointed enough. But I think we've already kind of come up with that consensus as a group. So that may be something that we want to lean towards recommending in our final report.
Moderator Ebbin?
I would just say that one approach to this, if you do have a lot of models, might be to kind of spend a bit of time just describing them and then kind of outlining the pros and cons, mm-hmm. or the fit or lack of mm-hmm. fit with Groton that that, you know, or arguments for and against that this committee has kind of brought up. And then you're casting a wide net and you have, you know, a schematic that allows people to say, well, this wouldn't work. You know, I mean, obviously there's some that are problematic because they don't fit with the charter according to the town attorney's first letter, and there may be some that don't fit, you know, because of, you know, maybe the way state law has been crafted or because of a mismatch between the town's governance and the new state law. So, I mean, you can kind of come up with lots of models, and I mean, if you already have them, but just to kind of show those pros and cons or arguments for and against it, you know, and make it more of a menu, so that when you have your, you know, the public safety or the town council, they can kind of, you know, look quickly at options or attributes that might be more or less, you know, well-fitting within the town, if that makes sense.
Agreed. Representative Hanscom, you had your hand up there.
Yeah, I was just saying too, it's a bit like presumptuous, assuming that we know what the community needs or that we know. And again, I keep going back to this. So like, what is our goal? Like, why are we creating this committee? Not for the sake of just creating it, but is it really to build a relationship, better relationship between the police and the community? Is there a problem? Like, I feel like what problems are we addressing that exist in our town? So I just feel like we haven't at least even come up with that it's hard for me to, you know, I can't get behind any one particular model because you know, we don't know yet what, you know, whatever, right. What the town thinks. So anyway.
Yeah, for the record, I did put in a request to get some complaint data from the town of Groton police to kind of get a look of, like, you know, the past 10 years or so of, like, you know, what's the data been, obviously, like, without any identifying information attached, just basic data. Representative Rusk?
I think that's the joy of the pact, is that you can get people together to discuss what the concerns are right now in our city, and we address them ahead of time, versus I feel like that's a proactive way of doing it, address the issues that we have and make this a community policing model where the community and the police are working together to solve issues, versus I feel like if we try to do a civilian review committee, we are looking at issues that have already happened instead of trying to address them ahead of time. And you can really model your pact however the town wants it to be. Obviously the city did it their way, but the town can do it in their own way. But I think it's a great way to start the conversation. And then you make your own action items out of that conversation that comes. And it might lead to an oversight committee. That might be what the findings are out of that PAC meeting, that we need something more. But it might be that we can address issues that maybe the police don't see, maybe we don't see as an RTM. You know, there are issues out there, obviously, but I'm not ready to jump to the point that we need an oversight committee right now. And maybe we do in the future. Maybe, like I said, maybe that's what comes out of this. But I prefer the PAC model to at least start here.
Yes, understood. Moderator Ebbin?
I think that was a lack of taking my hand down, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think we're pretty good on that. You know, we'll circle back on this the next meeting. I mean, I think there's a middle way here where we could write a report that kind of frames, you know, what options are out there, but, you know, then leads to our recommendation, and so that, you know, people reading it can understand what boards do and like why it may or may not be a great fit, you know, for our community. Representative Richards?
Yeah, I guess as far as that goes, like, I don't know how many people were able to join that webinar that I shared with Chair Thomas, but I certainly learned a great deal from that, and also was humbled that there is a great deal of information out there and there are experts out there. And I don't feel like I should take on that role and act as an expert to explain what these options are. I do feel comfortable making a recommendation for a pact that will look into options, also to, you know, have a survey and outreach, and you know, even writing a report and feeling like I'm doing something comprehensive to explain what these kinds of oversight boards could be. Like, that could be a thesis. I'm not sure that we haven't tasked each other with exploring this kind and go to this route and start drafting. And I think, at least it seems to me, that that's a much bigger and different kind of endeavor. I think we would be better served if we really thought about how to recommend the next steps to the town council to best address Groton, keeping in mind also things that are happening certainly outside of Groton. You know, I think the reason to think seriously about a review board is because we know that there are systemic institutional problems and inequalities and discrimination. And even if we don't have a particular case in Groton, right, we don't want to get there. So we need to have good relations, have that as a priority. And I see myself, a review board with review powers, as being a good step in showing that the community is involved myself. But I know that's still something that we're talking about.
All right, yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it. And everyone, does anyone have any other comments? All right, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second, Kasari.
Second.
All right. Who made the motion? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Rusk.
Rusk, okay. All right, very well then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
I trust that was still in favor, just delayed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and no abstentions. All right, very well. Thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.